Well, that's our program at 5. Thanks for being with us. But there's more news coming up. The fate of a young South Carolina woman rests in the hands of a jury tonight. Huel will have that story, and of course the rest of the Eyewitness News Report coming up right now at 6 o'clock. Huel?
Well, Rich, the big question in Union, South Carolina tonight: should Susan Smith live or die? Now a jury is getting ready to answer that question. Next on the Eyewitness News Report at 6, you'll get a live update from the courthouse in South Carolina. Jurors in the Simpson case get a chemistry lesson today. But is it going over their heads? We'll ask our expert. And a symbol of O.J. Simpson's past mysteriously disappears. We'll show you where it finally ended up. It's Monday, July 24th, 1995.
Now, for national news with your perspective, the Eyewitness News Report with Huel Perkins.
Good evening. Jurors in a South Carolina courtroom all agree that Susan Smith is guilty of murder. Tonight, they're trying to decide how she should be punished. It's creating a new drama in the small town of Union, which is watching and waiting for word of a mother's fate. The prosecution hopes to show that jury a videotape of how Susan Smith's 2 small children died. CNN Skip Lozier is live in Union with the latest on the trial and on the verdict and the sentencing to Susan Smith.
In order to get the death penalty, legal experts say the prosecution has to make the jury mad, incite them to kill, as one puts it. They plan on using Susan Smith's own lies to help them do it.
What kind of person would kill these 2 beautiful babies and then lie about it for 9 days? Asked Assistant Prosecutor Keith Gazay. The time has come to decide what Susan Smith deserves for what she did.
Your mom and dad are going to be right here waiting on you when you get home.
The jury watches several interviews with Susan taped last fall before she confessed. The prosecution hoping evidence of her lies, combined with tape of a reenactment of the car going into the lake and still photos of the car being pulled from the lake, will convince the jury to impose the death penalty. The judge will not allow the most gruesome of the still photos to be shown to the jury, and he still hasn't decided about the reenactment.
Most importantly, I would want Dr. Conradi, who is the pathologist in this case, to testify as to the amount of time it would take for them to die and the agony that they would be going through as their lungs fill with water.
The defense, on the other hand, must use her emotional instability to engender sympathy from the jury. Susan Smith cannot bear to be alone, attorney David Bruck said. By giving her life, she will be as alone as a person can be. Whether it is life or death is up to you, he told the jury.
I think that there's at least 3 or 4 people on that jury because of these experiences, because of their contact with her. One of the women, for example, worked at the daycare center where Susan Smith was a young child. These people are going to have a difficult time signing a death warrant.
If the jury opts for life, Susan Smith will spend at least the next 30 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole.
And we expect a verdict on Susan Smith's punishment within a week. Live in Union, South Carolina, I'm Skip Lozier.
Skip, Susan Smith did not testify during the initial phase of her trial. Is she allowed to testify during the punishment phase at all?
Well, she's allowed to, Huel, but it's doubtful that she really will. Instead, she may well address the jury directly during the closing arguments. That way she can stand toe-to-toe, face-to-face, look them in the eye, plead for her life, and not have to undergo cross-examination.
Skip Lozier reporting live from Union, South Carolina. Thanks, Skip. In another courtroom across the country from the Smith trial, O.J. Simpson's defense is getting a boost tonight. A defense expert says that the blood found on socks in the Simpson estate may have been tampered with. CNN's Linda Joyce is covering the trial in Los Angeles tonight.
A defense expert who specializes in forensic toxicology testified that a preservative used to prevent blood from clotting was found on a sock recovered from O.J. Simpson's bedroom. Using charts and graphs, Frederick Reeders also told the court there was EDTA found in the blood recovered from the back gate at the crime scene.
Do you have an opinion on whether, based on those chromatograms, there is EDTA present in the stain from the back gate?
In my opinion, yes. It demonstrates that there is EDTA present in that stain.
The defense maintains the presence of EDTA helps prove their case that the blood was planted. Prosecutors say since EDTA is an organic compound, the chemical can appear naturally and be found in some detergents. Before Reeders took the stand, Prosecutor Brian Kelberg argued to the judge that the defense witness should not be allowed to testify because the science is too vague.
This is not evidence that, in fact, shows there is EDTA, according to Dr. Reeder's own report. It only reflects that the result is presumptive of EDTA.
Judge Lancito allowed Kellberg to cross-examine Reeders about possible mistakes the defense expert may have made in other cases. When Reeders is finished on the witness stand, it's likely the defense will call an FBI scientist who conducted the original tests on the EDTA. In Los Angeles, Linda Joyce, TV2 Eyewitness News.
We're joined now by our legal analyst, criminal defense attorney Bill Mitchell. And first of all, Bill, this preservative EDTA is a preservative found, I guess, widely across many substances. Do you think the jury understands the significance of this?
I'm not sure that they understand very much about it. Hopefully, the defense, I'm sure, wants them to understand that this is something that is found in the preservative that the police use to preserve the blood, and that it should not necessarily have been found in the samples that were collected from the bedroom and from the gate. Obviously, the inference being that these were planted.
Is this the strongest defense witness so far, do you think?
To the extent that the jury can understand and will buy into it, perhaps yes. I still, though, believe that the strongest defense case really has to do with the earlier witnesses. It has to do with the mother, the family, the brothers, etc. The weakest part, if you will, so far of their case has been the scientific evidence, and they, of course, helped themselves today with this testimony.
All right, Bill, of course, we'll check back with you as the trial continues. Thanks so much for your perspective today. And tonight, you will get the very latest from the Simpson trial on Eyewitness News Prime Time at 10. Our live coverage from LA resumes tomorrow during Eyewitness News at noon. TV2 is the only Detroit station committed to bringing you the Simpson trial live as it happens. And a brown bust of O.J. Simpson has been found one day after being stolen from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. A road crew in Cleveland found the bust today on the side of the freeway. It's not known whether the sculpture was damaged. Police are still looking for a suspect. A congressman from Chicago is trading Capitol Hill for a courtroom tonight. Democrat Mel Reynolds' trial on sexual assault charges began today. A 19-year-old woman charged Reynolds had sex with her when she was underage. But now, the woman is refusing to testify. Prosecutors say that they will call her to the stand anyway. Reynolds says that he has been unfairly targeted solely because he is African-American. An Arizona man is in jail tonight charged with beheading his 14-year-old son. Police say that Eric Starr Smith killed the boy Saturday while his 13-year-old son watched. According to officers, Smith pulled his van over on a busy freeway and began stabbing Eric Smith Jr. because he thought the boy was possessed by the devil. Passing drivers saw the murder and called police. Smith later tossed the boy's head out of the window before being captured by police. Now, his younger son was not hurt in that incident. An ominous warning from management at the Detroit Free Press to striking reporters and writers. That story tops our Eye on Michigan tonight. A letter to 300 striking journalists from the publisher and editors warns that they could be fired if the strike goes on much longer. That letter went to members of the Newspapers Guild. They're angry that their bosses are making those threats. The letter also accuses the union of refusing the bargain. At the same time, a petition is circulating among strikers members of the Newspaper Guild, demanding that union leadership resume negotiations immediately. Free Press staffer Bob Roos is spearheading the drive.
Anti-stupidity, and I think this is really reaching a low that it shouldn't reach. Somebody needs to start the initiative and get back and start talking. The paper wants to talk. Let our union go back and talk, and maybe the other unions can follow.
In the middle of these developments, Detroit Free Press publisher Neil Shine is hospitalized in good condition tonight. He suffered stomach pains yesterday, and everybody on the strike line wishes him the best. This West Bloomfield High School student may go to prison for a year for punching a classmate. Desmond Vinn admits hitting Stephen Patah in school last year, but he says he's not guilty of a felony. Patah's brainstem was severed when his head hit the pavement. He's been in a coma ever since. Vinn was originally charged with felonious assault, but the judge ruled that that charge was excessive. And today, Vinn pled guilty to a lesser charge of aggravated assault. He'll be sentenced in a few weeks. Mike Grote of Livonia delivers beer for a living, but today he delivered something very different. His own 8-pound, 10-ounce baby boy. There you see him. Lori Grote woke up at about 4:30 in labor. Mike called the doctor, but there wasn't enough time to get to the hospital. The baby was coming, and nothing could stop him.
He just was coming out, and they tell you not to push, and I couldn't hold back. He was ready to go. He wanted to come out.
When I seen the baby's head coming out, I called 911, and then I had to put the phone down right away, and I got back on the phone, and I says, he's here.
Well, at first little Anthony wasn't breathing, so Mike put him on Lori's chest and cleared out his mouth. Then the boy let out a healthy scream. Mike learned how to deliver a baby at home from a TV show he watched just last week. Now, the radar system that keeps jet planes flying safely through the Midwest is developing what could be a dangerous habit. For the second time in a week, a key FAA computer system went down. The computer controls air traffic between airports in the Midwest, including here in Michigan. A backup system is in place, but flights out of Chicago and other airports are being delayed. This afternoon, Metro Airport Operations Manager Mike Conway told TV2 that the radar problems in Illinois delayed only a handful of flights here for no more than 30 minutes. Now, coming up, a cadet's dreams of military service were beaten down by racism hundreds of years ago. Today, his family sees those dreams fulfilled. We'll tell you about a century-long search for justice next on The Report. And later, a judge goes the extra mile to keep our roads safe. And we think that this judge is someone you should know. Stay with us.